Hey everyone, Ed here, Slow Car Fix. I am going to install cruise control from Dakota Digital on my 1981 Malibu with Gen 4 LS and drive-by-wire pedal. Just opened this box up and they sent me some cool magazines from Dakota Digital. They're really fast shipping. Everything's good. This little box has all the things I'm going to need for my road trip. Apparently this is supposed to be a pretty easy install, so I guess this is unboxing. I don't know, I don't really do that stuff, but it's supposed to be super easy install. One plug, some sort of little box of magic. Looks pretty simple. Instructions, that's handy. Wiring harness, what do we got on this thing? Alright, so that's a plug. There's a few wires here. Plug, fuse, ground, power, and a bunch of other stuff that I don't know where it goes. We're going to find that out. Oh, I like this one better. This one, I think, goes, yeah, it does. This one is the one that goes in between the drive-by-wire pedal. So you unplug your drive-by-wire pedal and plug this in. Now, the interesting thing for me is that I had to reconfigure because I used like a Malibu or an Impala or something. Drive-by-wire pedal because it bolted right into my firewall on my Malibu. So I had to use the same wires, just different locations. So this will be interesting. I'm probably going to have to repin this for my application. Other than that, this looks like it goes to this box. And then an empty box. So that's not really a lot. Should be more. I'm missing something. Aha! Good. I don't have to spend extra money. This is cool. Turn signal stock. Oh. Try not to lose all this stuff. So, okay. So this looks like I just cut off the end of my existing turn signal stock and clamped this on with a grub screw. And it's got all my buttons, so I don't even have to pop my wheel. I thought I'd have to pop my wheel. So that's handy. It's got the connector. That's really handy. This is probably going to be pretty slick. Hopefully it works. I guess start looking at the car. I think this is probably the hardest part that I'm going to have to figure out because, like I said, mine's different. I'll have to look at the instructions, see what they instruct. Go from there. Okay, so I've had a chance to look at the instructions here. Looks straightforward. So, as mentioned, this goes to the accelerator pedal. That's this guy right here. This goes to this other plug here. Goes to the OBD2, and then optionals cut the connector off and solder the wire, so I'm not doing that. So the other wiring that I wasn't sure what it does. Oh boy. Stuff flying everywhere. I kind of know what it does now. So The orange goes to the cruise indicator, which is my turn signal stock. The blue goes to the positive on the brake light switch, and the white and brown goes to the brake light negative. So that's pretty straightforward. This is talking about if you have a different type of push button instead of the turn signal stock. So this talks about the brake light switch. So on the brake light switch, you have a hot side and you have a side that goes to the tail lights. It says here, connect to the cold side of the brake light switch. This wire should have 12 volts only when the brake light is depressed, when the brake is depressed. So that's the wire that goes to the tail lights. When the brake is not depressed, it should be grounded through the brake light bulbs. If the brake light bulbs are not connected or burned out, the system will not operate. LED brake lights will not provide proper grounding. That's interesting. And then it talks about some stuff for manual transmission. I don't have a manual transmission. So this looks pretty straightforward. I guess I'll look at my car and see what I've got. Okay, so this is the plug for my drive-by-wire pedal. This is the one where that one goes, set of wiring goes in between. But as I mentioned, I had to change the configuration here, so I'm going to have a look and see how that lines up with what Dakota provided. So that will interrupt this, will go in between here. And then also my brake light switch is right here. And I'm going to have to see what does what on that. The brown wire and the white wire are switched on my application to be able to make this pedal work. Now I covered that in another video, so I'm not going to beat that to death, but basically all you guys need to know is that right now I have to re-pin this to match my car. Now that's my problem with this specific car. It's not going to be a problem for an install in any other application with drive-by-wire unless you're using a pedal. You just want to make a different pedal. You just want to make sure that everything matches the way it's supposed to. Now this wiring code on this wiring layout on this end of the plug is dead factory. So like I said, I just had to switch mine to be able to use this pedal out of a different car. So you just want to make sure that your wiring, so say like the light blue wire goes to where the light blue wire is supposed to be on here, and the dark blue wire goes to where the dark blue wire, and so on. You just want to make sure that that's all okay. Other than that, it really should be just plug and play. Like this just plugs in here somehow, one hand. That just plugs in like that. This plugs into the top of your pedal, and this goes to your control unit, these wires. So I'm going to repin this, install it, and then show you guys what I'm talking about, because I've already confused myself just trying to explain it. Okay, so basically all I had to do for my application is I had to switch the dark brown wire and the white wire. They were in the opposite spots, and I had to take apart the connector, pop this purple thing off, pop the pins out, repin those two wires. Fortunately for me, those wires go straight through, so it makes sense. I just move the swap them on this one and swap them on this one. They aren't the control wires. They're just, I don't know what they do, but they just go right through. So that should be fine. So now I just need to plug them into this, plug them into the pedal, clean that all up, put that all away, and carry on with the next step in the wiring process. Okay, so now I've got that all plugged in line. That leaves me with this plug here, and it only fits in one spot on the Dakota box. There's only the right amount of spots, so it goes into the J4. I guess this one here, with all this wiring on it, probably goes into J2 by the look of it, because that's the next biggest spot. So I'm going to try and do this single-handed. So that goes into the J2, and we're going to figure out where all that wiring goes. This guy here that goes to the ODB port, OBD, R2D2, whatever. So there's my port there. So this guy just looks like it plugs in here, and then you'd have to unplug that, I guess, if you're going to scan. And it plugs in to this guy, to this J1. And I suppose the other one is for the turn signal stock, but I'm not there yet. So now I got to figure out wiring all this crap. As mentioned, ground is ground, power is power. This goes to the one side of the brake light switch. I believe the blue goes to the other side of the brake light switch, and we'll figure out the rest. So I'm going to carry on and show you guys where I end up. Okay, so I'm going to start with this white with brown wire. It says connect to the cold side of the brake light switch. This wire should only have 12 volts when depressed. So let's look at this. This is my brake light switch. So let's see if I can do this with one hand. There's no power there now, right? And then if I push on the brake lights, on the brakes, there's power, because that means that it's turning the brake lights on. So that's where I need to connect this one to, is that side on the brake light switch. The other thing is I have found a spot to ground. I've grounded it right here. Nice clean spot. Also I found a spot in here that has 12 volts when I have ignition power, so there's no power there now. I've already checked it with the meter to see that it's 12. And then when I turn this key on, turn the key on, and there's power. So that's where I'm going to pick up my power from. That's a fused wire on this box, and then all I did was put a spade connector on the end and heat shrinked it. I like to heat shrink all my connectors even if they're inside, because what it does is it gives you mechanical protection as well, and it prevents the end from pulling off. So you crimp it, and you know, if you use a quality crimper, your crimp shouldn't come off. However, if it's heat shrinked, it won't come off. It can't come off. So this will just stab into that panel, but obviously I'm not doing that right yet until I have everything hooked up. Okay, so as I mentioned, this blue wire is to go to the positive that provides power to the brake light switch. So this is the 2-prong plug that was on my brake light switch, and the orange wire here is the one that provides constant power. My ground's not very good. But so I found where there's constant power that goes to the brake light switch. So what I need to do now is I need to interrupt this and connect the blue wire from the Dakota Digital unit in line with this. So what I'm going to do is cut this. I'm going to put in a butt splice with the 2 wires in the one end and the 1 wire in the other end. And I'm going to heat shrink the whole thing, much like this one here is done on the other side, and should be good. Okay, so before I heat shrink this, I just wanted to show you guys what I meant. So this is now plugged back into the factory plug. It's the blue wire's tapped in the one side. It's got a crimp connect, and then I'll slide this heat shrink down over. I'll heat shrink that, and it'll all be protected and won't pull apart. Now you can use those little fold over clips. I don't like them, the ones that fold over and break the line without splicing it. I don't like them. You're still breaking the wire, they don't really hold up. They're kind of cheap plastic, and you can't heat shrink them. So I prefer to do it this way. You can also strip it, solder it, and heat shrink it. I did do that with the majority of my wiring in this car is soldered and heat shrunk, but now with carpet in, I don't want to risk dripping solder on it. Okay, so now that's all heat shrunk, connectors plugged in. That should be the end of the brake light switch stuff. Just, you know, obviously getting the wiring sorted out. I mean location wise, of course. So we've got power, we've got the orange has to go to the negative on the Dakota Digital or your choice of cruise indicator. So that's this orange guy here. So I've got to figure out what that's about with the, I think the only thing I really have left is to mount this box. Obviously still have to hook up power, I just have to plug that in. But mount this box somewhere and then do the turn signal stock thing for the cruise. I think I'm just going to run that on the exterior of the column. I don't really think there's much choice. I'll just run it down here. I'm going to pull this guy off because I think that's where I'm going to mount that box just behind there. Okay, so I've learned some things. First of all, check your peanuts, because in the peanut box was an extra wiring harness. So I was trying to figure out why this guy here wouldn't plug into that with this provided connector. That's because that plugs into this, and this guy plugs into the Dakota Digital box. So I was also trying to figure out what these 3 extra wires do. All else fails, read the instructions. This is for if you have a manual transmission. So let's see here. The yellow wire is clutch positive. The white wire is clutch ground. And this orange thing is for if you've got a light for cruise control, like a cruise control indicator on the dash, which I don't have right now. It's not a bad idea, but I don't think I'm going to do it right now. I think how I'm going to mount this box is I'm going to clean this up here, and rather than put screws in it, I'm just going to put a piece of, I get some Velcro, I'll put a piece of Velcro on the end of this, and then I will plug that all in. This connects right like so. That's the missing link here, and that goes to that connector that goes to this cruise control stock. So what I'm going to do with this cruise control stock is apparently, I think I'm just going to saw this off rather than pop my wheel. I'm going to saw this off, and this just goes on with a grub screw, and then I'm going to run the wire down the exterior of the column, and I'll wrap everything up nicely in this box in behind that trim piece, and sort out all my wires. This is turning into a bit of a spaghetti factory, but it's still very simple, but so am I. So I'm working my way through it. It says that the wire for the indicator light, if you're not using it, you have to ground it. So I've just taken you can see I've taken the ground, I've cut it, put a butt splice in, 2 wires on the one side. I left the full length of the wire in case I want to add a cruise control light later, because that's probably a good idea. But I don't have any lights here, so that'll just have to happen another time, or maybe never. So now I'm pretty much at the stage where I have to put things back together, and then I will have to mount this stock. Okay, so you can see all my wiring and everything is all put away. Panels all put back up. Everything's good. I've got to reconnect the battery and take it for a drive and see if it works. Okay, so we're trying this thing out. I'm going to turn it on. Oh, it's working. Well, I still need my hands on the wheel. It's not my Tesla. So it's holding speed, so let's hit the accel. If I hold the accel, it accelerates. Let off. Now this is the coast button. I hit the coast button and it coasts. So it's cruising, and then if I hit the brakes, it should shut off. And it does. So I have cruise control. It's fantastic. Yeah. Car's working. So I'm back at the house. You can see, I didn't show you, but I cut off the stock, installed this new stock, and it works pretty good. Everything is neat and tidy. Not sure if you can see, but it's neat and tidy down there. And everything is working the way it's supposed to work. Well, thanks very much for watching. Thanks for joining me on this bit of progress on my car. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get it done or not, but I got it all figured out, and everything works great. I guess you just follow the instructions. The Dakota Digital quality, the product seems to be really good. I'm happy with it. The only thing I had to do different on my installation than a regular one is, like I mentioned, repin the wire for the accelerator pedal. The other thing I did do was I started it before I had because I wanted to see if that worked. I restarted the car without everything all hooked up, and that threw a code. So I had to clear the codes, but it didn't throw another code when I just took it for a drive. So everything is good. It just threw a throttle position code or something like that. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, check out my other stuff on this on my Malibu project. It's pretty cool. This was my first car. I've owned it since I was about 16 years old. Drove it to high school, restored it a few times. Now it's LS swapped and probably in its best version of itself. And I'm getting it ready. Final details to take it on about a 15,000 kilometer road trip. Thanks for watching.